All right, listen, I had a little bit more time being that I was in town. I was down at Kuhn's Market at Banksville, had a little luncheon. Before I go on the air tonight, here he is, Greg Diulus of Milk and Honey Sports Entertainment Management, Diulus Law. He'll come to your house. The phone's been ringing all day long. Before we talk law and sports, tonight, the Bocce House with me. This is the guy that invented backyard games, from jarts and badminton to pickleball, swimming in the pool, cutting his grass, and he could play wiffle ball all day long. That's pretty cool, this Bocce House thing coming, huh?
It really is. It's a great idea. As I understand, there's a cigar bar part of it, cigar lounge, and a good time. And from what I've understood, bocce at all levels, and they're going to welcome leagues in and things of that nature. It seems like a really cool idea.
Bocce's really catching on. They got leagues around here and everything now.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, you know, with the Bloomfield days and the Italian days and the fundraiser, the big fundraiser that the Carnegie Science Center, I believe, has. There's tons of it that goes on, and I've seen it as a little kid with the Red Dog courts at San Lorenzo de Gambaral, and so I've seen it from a little kid, and I love playing it.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Back in the day, our Mando's Lounge bar, if you will, in Rochester, my cousin Tony Boza, they had a massive league, and people would just pour in there and block the parking lot of She-Walk Distributing, but it was all in good fun. So I love it. Looking forward to spending a little time with them tonight. The Bocce House, 7 o'clock hour. Okay, law. You know, I know you do a lot of family law, so this is just my mind, because I have been down that path before, and we had an incredible attorney who is now a judge in Beaver County, Kdka. You enjoy doing that, but it's got to, especially when you have such a beautiful family, a wife, daughter, now son-in-law, how do you approach it every day?
Yeah, and I guess the way I look at it is, if I had a situation going on within my family, I would want somebody that cares. Somebody that gives a rat's rear end about the result and not just worrying about billing me and getting the retainer in their pocket, but wanting to know that it's a result that's actually fair or equitable for both sides. I think a lot of family law attorneys nowadays are going out there and just trying to turn the screwdriver as tightly as they can against the other side and not worrying about what's the right result, especially when you're dealing with custody type of cases. Trying to get both parties as much involvement for their family and for their children as you can. And I just had one yesterday in Beaver County Courthouse where we got a pretty reasonable result. A good attorney on the other side who also is working to what's right, not just worrying about getting the maximum time from his side or the maximum time from my side, but what was the best result for the best interest of the kids. And that's what the courts should always be worried about. Doesn't always work out that way, but that's what I've, in my time, and I used to be one of those guys that was going for the jugular every time, but it's not what's in the best interest of your clients even, and I've learned that over a long period of time.
Here's what else I've noticed, because I've been here for a few minutes and the phone does ring. You like to actually listen to people.
I do. I think that's the important part of what you're doing is understanding and having some compassion for your client and getting a feel for what's going to be the best result for them in the long run. It's not always about the bottom line dollars, but it's always about what's the client going to be most comfortable with and what's the client going to be able to live with going forward.
All right, this is something else. This guy speaks his mind, and I think he's an incredible talent on the radio, and I really think once I decide to retire and go cut grass and hang out and do some fishing in the beautiful Beaver County region of the Ohio River, he's going to be a force, I really believe, someday, maybe even on the network. He was the guy that they went to at Kdka, that great source, when the whole gambling thing broke out. And I understand that these gentlemen who are now suspended will not get paid. That broke earlier today from the NBA. Also, Major League Baseball talking about trying to stop prop bets, which we've discussed with Ted Arnaud, who did it the right way and continues to promote legalized gambling as I do. I think it's great for the business matrix. But this guy, being a professional sports agent and handles some incredibly talented NFL players, doesn't like it at all. But here's the most amazing thing, and I cannot wait for you to wail on this because I don't like it at all. Pat Narduzzi, our man, has already lashed out at it. How can you let collegiate players in college, already getting name, image, and likeness, which they have money now, to place legal sportsbook bets on professional athletics? That's nonsense.
Yeah, and we talked about this when this story first broke on the Kuhn's Market Black and Gold Sunday show a couple of weeks ago, that it really is counterintuitive to whatever we've always learned. The more that you can have individuals that are involved in any way, shape, or form with gambling, it's a bad idea. You don't ever want someone whose livelihood could be tied with information that they're getting from a player, whether it's, hey, how did Desmond Reed look in practice today? You know, and you have that type of situation where it could be an innocent exchange of information, but it turns out that it's valuable information to what we used to refer to as the underworld. Right, and allowing that, opening that door to players. Now we all know that's gone on for years, but to just open it to bigger and worse Pandora's box type of thing. I just and we've talked about this. The Rivers Casino has its place, and it's a good thing for the community. There's monies that are flowing, and all that is good. And I'm in the minority with the show that we do, because you guys know that I do it, and it's part of the necessary type of aspect of the show. But to me, it's a harder lifestyle to accept. And it's definitely hard to allow any athlete, professional or college, and let's face it, college athletes are in essence professional now. Absolutely. They get paid for what they're doing, so they're, by definition, they're pros. Mm-hmm. But the chance that something untoward could come of as a result of them being able to place a wager, even if they're not allowed to wager on college sports or the sport that they're in, but they've got friends. Paul Skeens went to LSU. He had friends on the LSU football team. So now you get baseball information that's being exchanged back and forth. All these guys athletes know each other. They always associate in the same breath. And it's just, I'm sorry to say, I think it's a bad and a very poor slippery slope that we could get to.
Well, here's what people don't understand. And he's the educated one. I'm from the School of Hard Knocks. I know a little bit about that side of the track. Look, what happens, sooner or later, you can't place a sports book bet legally because they shut you off because you're so upside down. So you got to get that fix, that juice, that action. So you go to that guy down the street, and the next thing you know, you get upside down with them. They got their hooks in you. And then they're saying, well, look, if you can't pay the money back, how about this or that? And the next thing you know, you're influencing games that they are betting on. It's a really slippery slope. And let's face it, I know when I was 18 and 19 making a little bit of money because I fell into something, I was stupid. I spent a lot of money on stuff that I don't even know where it's at now or why I was spending it. So I really hope that they take a closer look. But do you think prop bets should be stopped across the board?
I think across the board, no. Because there are some prop bets that are legitimate. Sorry about that. That's going to ring and we're going to not get it. But prop bets, by definition, there can be a problem with it because you can manipulate them very easily. If you're going to bet on the first pitch in the third inning going to be a strike or a ball, there's only one person that you need to get to on that, and that's what happened with Ortiz and the issue that was going on. I've often said watching...
Talking about when he was with Cleveland, right?
Yeah, the kid that's been suspended.
Right.
Was Ortiz, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. But I've said watching Bednar with the Pirates this year, I said when he comes into games, I would jokingly say, I'll bet you his first pitch is going to be a curveball. Because he loved to do the get me over curveball when he came into games. And it was a trend that I noticed. Now, other people can notice that all that they want. But then if somebody just plants a seed in his mind, hey, you're throwing a lot of get me over curveballs as your first pitch. Now that can change a whole bunch of different things if you're allowed to bet on whether he's throwing a curveball with his first pitch.
Who keeps track of all this stuff?
Oh,
I know. Analytics.
Well, analytics, yeah, but just why, as a casual fan, I'm watching and I'm noticing that every time Bednar came into a game, his first pitch was a 70-mile-an-hour curveball, and it was generally going to be a strike. Now, I'm sure that his other teams were noticing that too, but very rarely did anybody jump on that first pitch. It's just one of those things that I noticed, and that could certainly be manipulated by somebody without him even knowing. Some fan in a bar saying, hey, you're throwing a lot of first pitch curveballs. And all of a sudden, that changes the whole dynamic.
Well, before we actually talk some real sports in real time, I think Ted is right. It's about the entertainment aspect. You got to have things for people to do. Good restaurant, good show, things to basically, go to the spa, have a nice hotel. You got to mix in some other things. But I love it. I love all of the things about it, and it's here to stay. And I just think that we need to get a handle on how this has kind of gone in the wrong direction elsewhere. It's not good, but it's been around forever.
But one of the things we talked about is as a gambler or a casual bettor, whatever you want to call the person, if you're on the right side of the fix, what do you care? Why do you care if the fix was in, as long as you, and most of the time it's dumb luck that you're getting into it anyway.
All right, Snell better go 8 innings tonight, because if they have 3-2 at lead, momentum going back to Toronto, Vladdy and company, this is over. I said the Blue Jays could make it close, but to be tied up heading into Game 5 tonight in Los Angeles after what Ohtani has done, obviously pitched well enough to win, not well enough, gave up 4 earned runs. But did you ever think it would be tied at 2 going into 5?
I didn't. The way the Dodgers were mowing people down, I really didn't think this one was going any more than 5 games. And how close was it to really Toronto having a 3-game lead? They went 18 innings the other night.
Precious, loved it.
And it was so good. And you know how that goes. Just so late at night, you fall asleep and you wake up an inning and a half later, and you're like, oh, am I watching a replay? Am I watching the real thing? You kind of get that delirium going on. But it was a lot of fun. It was like one of those Stanley Cup playoff games that went 3 or 4 overtimes years ago that went way into the wee hours of the morning.
Well, let's just hope that it continues to go in the direction. But let's be honest, there's not a greater athlete on the planet than Shohei Ohtani.
Well, he's something else.
I mean, you're a baseball guy. You know baseball. Explain why it's so difficult what he's doing right now.
Well, because of the training that you have to put in and the mental focus that these guys go through with playing in the game and then pitching the game, being a hitter and having to study the opposition and then having to study them the opposite way. So you're doing twice the work. Assumedly, nowadays it's a lot easier to do the research and all that stuff, but to a certain extent it comes down to see the baseball, hit the baseball. See the guy that's up there, throw it past the guy that's up there.
We were at the great Green Tree Inn earlier today, one of my favorite places in Green Tree, and the legendary Andrew Fittipaldi kind of took me to school when I said I'd go after Pete Alonso, for the Pirates. Nobody wants to give me any time when it comes to my Pirates. I love them. Schwarber out of Philly. You get rid of Reynolds, you get rid of Keller, you save money. You at least attempt, and people were like, well, you need more than one bat. Listen, I think you get a bat with this pitching, and you look at the Dodgers, why they are where they're at. Yeah, they got some hitters, but they got a great pitching staff. Hey, you saw what Bieber did yesterday for Toronto. I'm telling you, the Pirates just need one bat who can consistently give them an opportunity. That's all.
But the one bat theory is hard, because if you've got only one bat, then you're pitching around him. You're not going to give him anything to hit ever, because there's nobody behind him to worry about.
Baseball.
Well, and we were talking about that the other day. O'Neill Cruz's arbitration number is going to be like $3 million. You can pay that in a minute,
Sign
right?
the check.
Yeah. See if he can get better. But what a difference it makes to see a quality center fielder as compared to what we had to watch. When you're watching the kid from, the center fielder from Toronto, the guy whose father, Varsho.
Yeah.
When you watch Varsho out there, I say to the family the other night, they play the left fielder on the foul line, the right fielder on the foul line, and let Dalton Varsho get to whatever else that's out there. And he gets to everything that's out there.
Speaking of fathers, you ever think what's going through the mind of Vladimir Guerrero Senior watching his boy play? What I mean, and I kind of, with Tito Francona and Terry, Tito watching his son actually win the World Series with Boston, him as a player, that's got to be really special to see your son, your child, representing what you did in the major league.
That would be so cool. And especially, how about the play that Guerrero when he slides the other night, and he just slides and he sees the glove coming, so he's got to stop short, and he just kind of slides and slaps the plate with his hand. To have that presence of mind to make a slide like that was amazing to me.
All right, so 2 more things and we'll get out of here. So I actually did this earlier today from Kuhn's Market. Who would have ever thought between West Virginia, Penn State, and Pitt that right now Pitt is the best of the bunch? And I'm loving Pat Narduzzi more every day.
Well, unfortunately, Pitt didn't beat West Virginia this year, so the Mountaineers have a little bit of bragging rights with regard to that, but I think they would probably trade that victory for some additional ones within the Big 12. But yeah, the Panthers really seem to have it going on. The
Stanford
quarterback
this week.
the quarterback switch was a big bonus
Well,
for
here's
them.
what else I heard today, and he will remain nameless because I don't want to put him on the spot. They're telling me they're going to pay him $1 million, this 18-year-old kid. And
Oh,
name him-
absolutely. Yeah,
Great.
that's a minimum that they'll have to pay him,
Could
or
it-
he'll go somewhere else.
Is he the real deal? Do you think? We've only seen him in a couple of games now.
Well, we thought that Holstein was the real deal at this time. At this exact time last year, everybody was saying you got to pony up for Holstein or you're going to lose him.
What do you like about this guy?
Well, it's the pocket presence.
Right.
It's the ability to use his legs when necessary, but to also keep his focus downfield so that you kind of break that first level of pocket, keep your eyes downfield. You get somebody running free, you get that ball downfield to him, as he did with Blue Hicks this past week.
Ooh.
Get that ball, an 80-yard touchdown. A beautiful play. So it's the ability to break the pocket, use his legs when necessary, but also to keep his focus
You know what I was
downfield.
most impressed with? Now, he's 18, okay? He's on the ACC network being interviewed live after
Yeah.
the game. It was incredible. I was in my house in the kitchen, and I'm going, that kid is amazing.
He was very nonplussed, wasn't he? He was just, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do. I'll have this conversation with you, and then I'll go beyond that.
Let's give him some love. I did earlier today. My neighbor, little Fitzsimmons, who's all grown up now. I think there's a place for him maybe in the NFL.
Had a conversation about him with some NFL people today, so I'm looking forward to
What's
following
his
up
skill
with
set?
him.
What does he bring?
Well, he's very consistent. He's a space eater to a certain extent. He'll keep people. He'll work within the assignment that he has as a defensive lineman. And a lot of times, as a defensive lineman, they tell you just go. You see the football, go after the football. But that's really not what that interior defensive linemen are instructed to do on a lot of occasions. It's make sure that offensive lineman or two offensive linemen that are coming after you aren't able to get to the second level and get to the linebackers. Look at the productivity that with Biles and Lewis have had at Pitt. A lot of it is because the guys in front of them are keeping the offensive linemen from getting to them so that they can run free and make plays.
Kid from Aliquippa, Cam Lindsay, going to see more time moving forward, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's going to be very productive, yes.
All right. The last thing, Steelers, they got to win this game. Our dear friend Ralph Sindrich, happy birthday to the super agent, belated from your Pratt Pack. I love that guy. Boy, he had some one-on-one verbal sparring matches with the Colts back in the day. I love hearing those stories. I see Jeff Saturday all the time doing what he does. Listen, how the Colts literally become the best team in the NFL. And I love the fact that Mr. Irsay's daughters are really carrying on the tradition of real grit, true grit. Love seeing her on the sidelines, love everything about it. But Daniel Jones, and they got a defense too. And this Jonathan Taylor might be the best running back in all of football. How did they flip the switch like that?
Well, I keep telling you, running backs are a dime a dozen.
Pretty good.
He's able to be another one of that dozen of the dimes. But he is very good, and he gets in the end zone, which is the most important part of being a
But
running
you're an
back.
agent. You realize this should give everybody hope. Daniel Jones was on the scrap heap. He was done.
He was.
And now
He was
they're
done.
calling him franchise. They're talking extension.
Indiana Jones, right?
What a great name.
And it's amazing, like we just talked about with Heinzel and with Holstein before. It's the most recent 6 games. You got to capitalize on it. Go get your money when you can get the money. What did the Bengals just paid their defensive end $45 million a year, right? So we talk about those the jumping over the guy in front of you just happened. T.J. Watt kind of set the market, and boom.
By the way, Flacco's
Contract's
got
gone.
some shoulder issues, and he may not go this week for Cincinnati. So
We're
where's
going to
that
go
thing?
back to
Browning.
the Browning automatic rifle.
And I also think you got to see Shador Sanders very soon in the National Football League start.
There's been talk about him being on the trade block.
I know. How about this one? I brought this one up earlier today. Never doubt me. I'm always thinking. Why not go after A.J. Brown from Philadelphia? Give him a linebacker. Give him Herbert. Give him a Highsmith. Eagles. Why not? Could you imagine him and D.K. Metcalf?
Well, why would the Eagles want to part with him?
Well, because he's disgruntled. That's the big talk now. He
Yeah.
might want out of Philadelphia, which is crazy as far as I'm concerned, but I'll take him in Pittsburgh any day of the week.
Well, anytime a guy's getting disgruntled, now you start thinking, oh, this is Pickens.
Listen,
This is
I'm
not
the
going
guy
to be
that
happy.
wanted
There's not
Antonio
enough
Brown
football
to come
going
back,
around.
so I get it. But why is this defense so bad for the Steelers? I mean, they're atrocious, Greg.
They really looked very troubled in that Green Bay game. They looked like they couldn't stay with receivers. They looked confused. When Elliott went down, he's the quarterback of the defense. They didn't know where to go, where to line up. They had 10 guys on the field in one play. Very confused. And that goes back, some people would say, to coaching.
Austin's a defensive coach. Well, a defensive-minded coach, Coach Thomas, got to figure it out. You know what's really been blistering? I mean, it could happen again this week with this Warren guy. The tight end's been crushing the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, and Warren is a really good tight end. He
Yeah,
does
he is.
everything. You know, it's the Penn State product, and we talked about him going into the draft last year. And you know, I was looking at the tight end statistics because of Travis Kelce being our guy, and everybody talking about Travis and the fact that he might be washed up. Well, if you look at it, he looked pretty darn good the other night.
99 yards receiving, touchdown.
And if you look at the tight end statistics in the NFL, he has the second most yards receiving at tight end for a guy that's washed up. And the only guy that's got more is the guy from Green Bay who had 4 million yards against the Steelers. So if he wasn't playing the Steelers, Trav would still be the leader in yards.
I was watching him on ESPN's post game the other night. Your guy, Travis Kelce. Man, he's got just like his brother and his brother's wife. They know how to do it, man.
Yeah, he there's just that something about him that he lights up a room when he walks into the room. Everybody's attracted to him. He's good looking. He's huge, bigger than life, but so down to earth.
Listen, you know how much respect I have for Taylor Swift all the way around. But the other day I heard somebody say, "Yeah, Taylor Swift, she's dating Travis Kelce." Wow, that's pretty
Wow,
good.
that just dawned on her.
I know. Anyway, before we go, just remind folks that you know you really are old school when it comes to law. There's like no big corporate LLC or corporate entity, not in some skyscraper in downtown. This is how he dresses when he comes to work, other than when he's in the courtroom. You go to people's houses, estate planning. I ask him every week what's happening, what's going on. It really is an exciting way to make a living, isn't it?
It can be, but it also is I go home at night and I feel good about some of the things that I've done during the day. I had a call the other day from an elderly lady that lives in an apartment over near Shadyside Hospital on Aiken Avenue, and she was telling me I need to have my will redone. I said, well, what do you need? What's the problem? And she said, well, the person that I wanted to leave everything to is no longer with me, and she was going through the explanation. I said, well, I'll come out, we'll sit down and we'll go over it. So, you know, go out there in the old apartment building and just kind of make sure that she's going to be okay.
I'll tell you why I thought about him today in closing. I was at the bakery at Banksville.
Oh, man.
I saw some giant chocolate chip cookies. I said, man, Greg, I should have bought him a dozen or two. You have a couple of favorites, though, cookies?
Well, yes, I do. They're salted caramel cookies at Kuhn's Market are out of this world. Their regular chocolate chips are really good, but they also do an outstanding. It's an apricot filled pastry with kind of a sugar cookie crumb around them. And let's do a little advertisement for the Kuhn's Market in Banksville with the bakery there. When I get invited to events, parties, picnics, things of that nature, I just bring a cookie tray. It's like 4 dozen or 5 dozen cookies on it, and I hope that they don't get eaten while I'm there, so I can take a bunch of them home with me. But their cookie trays are, and really that's a great tip when you get invited somewhere and you need to bring something and you're never sure what you want to bring. A cookie tray from Kuhn's is outstanding.
This is what Joe Dentese used to say. God rest his soul. I miss him. I was just talking to the guy that sold him his Cadillac, Kenny Goldberg, a Rory Cadillac in the parking lot. We were just talking about Joe. But Joe used to always say, just take him. Take our name off. Tell everybody you made him. That's a good guy. All right, listen, we'll be back with another edition of the Kuhn's Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. And, of course, we always like to talk about Leon's Billiards and more. I saw you made a comment about you took the cover up, ready to play a little pool the other day.
We played, Trevor and I played the other night watching the Chiefs and the World Series at the same time, and then the girls were in the other room watching another TV show or whatever. So
you like all these games, don't you?
I do. I love
They're competitive.
Barroom games, darts, shuffleboard.
They got all that at Leon.
Yeah, they do. And our pool table's from there years and years ago, but it's still in great shape.
We can make you a deal. Get a new one. All right, and also Invisalign, my bud, they do such a great job there. He's taken them to new heights. It's the clear choice for a better smile when we talk the NFL. And we always use that betrivers.net line. Great place to watch a sporting event. That is a cool place to watch a sporting event, though, Rivers.
Yeah, the sports book area with those nice lounge chairs, and you can go there and get a nice icy light and a soft pretzel or some nachos and just kind of chill and watch a game.
So you told me about Coach Schmidt. He loves iron, Duquesne coach who joins us every week. And that just really it plucked at my heartstrings. I love people. My dear friend Eddie Molderman, he loved his Iron City. His dad put a little bar in the basement, all kinds of Iron City paraphernalia. But you're just an icy light guy, always been.
From the beginning, yeah. From when I started to drink, turned 21 and said, give me an icy light. Yeah.
All right. Greg Diulus, More Sports, 93.7 The Fan.